Hello, everyone, and welcome to Our Ventura TV. I'm Sandra Siepak. On today's show, we'd like to welcome Stephen Wagner. He is a certified financial planner and investment advisor here in Ventura County. Welcome to the show, Steve. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sandra, for having me.
Very good. We'd like to talk today about financial planning and the need in preparing for and near retirement. And we'd also like to have you give us a little bit information on how we know we are secure enough financially to retire. So let's start with that.
Absolutely. Looking forward to that. Absolutely.
Okay, so give us an idea of what you feel would be a good idea in preparing for retirement.
Well, I think the biggest thing is knowing where you are.
Okay.
Put yourself in the position of someone who's worked for, say, 40 years.
Right.
And then all of a sudden you're going to wake up one morning and there's no more paycheck coming in. That can be daunting, both literally and emotionally.
Yes.
And so we found that by having a sound, firm financial plan, i.e. knowing where you are, knowing how much money you have, will that money last as long as you do? And of course, as we all know, people are living longer and longer
Yes.
as time goes on. That's a big fear. So to help retirees have peace of mind, having a financial plan is paramount.
Okay. You really want to make sure that you're ready to retire. I know there's different ages that people consider. Does that make a difference?
It does. Obviously, the longer one works and earns a paycheck, the more they're going to have for retirement. So that certainly helps a lot. But again, I go back to the key idea here of having a financial plan, because that will answer that question. There are many individuals that are, believe it or not, able to retire earlier than they think. Due to the pensions that they're going to be receiving, built up Social Security, built up other investments. So having that plan answers, Sandra, all of those questions.
Okay. What about maximizing Social Security benefits? Is that possible?
It is. And I think it's one of the misunderstood benefits. People tend to have this idea all along, oh, Social Security is not that much. And It's probably not going to be there when I get out to retirement. Well, the fact of the matter is, Social Security makes up a very large percentage of an individual's income during retirement. Part of the reason for that is that the more you make, the more you get. And the government increases your Social Security benefit every year by the rise of the CPI or inflation. So it's a very important benefit. Now, our view is, at least working until full retirement age, which for most of us now is between 66 and 67.
Okay.
Work until then, because taking Social Security before your full retirement age reduces the benefit permanently.
Right.
And then conversely, if you're willing to wait until 70, every year that goes by from your full retirement age, you get a guaranteed 8% increase in your Social Security benefit. So think about that for a moment. You might have, say, a $3,000 Social Security benefit at 67, but it's going to be over $4,000 a year guaranteed for life. And oh, by the way, that will go up with inflation at age 70. So again, I hate to keep sounding redundant here, but a financial plan will reveal if you're able to do that or not.
Many people, as they near retirement, may want to downsize and sell their home, especially here in California. Is this a good idea, especially, now that many of homeowners in California can make a considerable profit, which can really add to their retirement portfolio? Is that a good idea?
It very much can be. And I'm glad you asked that excellent question, Sandra. Obviously, living in California has its tremendous benefits. We have great weather for the most part. But land values also are another benefit. As you know, and I know, they've gone up, tremendously over the last, many, many years.
Yes.
So as a result, individuals can sell their house, get the $500,000 tax exemption as couples get, and take that money, put it in their pocket, and go somewhere else where housing prices aren't as high as they are here in California. Potentially even purchase a home outright, have money left over. And you talk about peace of mind for retirement, that certainly can do it. So it is a, it
That
is
could,
a, it
yeah,
is a viable option.
that could be very healthy for a retirement portfolio.
It is.
Which
It
brings
is.
me to the next question. What should an investment portfolio for retirement have?
Well, Sandra, that's it's unique to every individual. Clearly,
Right.
everybody has a different risk tolerance, but
Okay.
importantly, everybody also has a different income need. Some retirees are able to make it on their pension and Social
Right.
Security. They don't even need to touch their investments. So they
Okay.
could perhaps be a little bit more aggressive during retirement with their investments. But most retirees are in a situation where they built up their 401k, they built up their IRA and their savings, and they need that money to create income. For most people, having an income based portfolio is going to give them what they need every month to live, give them peace of mind as well. And why
Okay.
do I bring that thought of peace of mind up? Well, during their working years, when they were getting a paycheck and had their money invested in the stock market, that
Sure.
roller coaster wasn't so bad.
Right.
But during retirement, having your account go down by 20, 30, 40% when the market falls that much,
Sure.
that's a hard pill to swallow. So we want to try to
Right.
avoid that.
Okay. What are some of the considerations often overlooked near retirement?
Yeah, I think there are several. First of all, and again, it goes back to a plan. A plan
Okay.
shows all of this, but I would say in general, Sandra, for
Right.
most retirees, they're not thinking about what isn't covered under
Okay.
Medicare and Medicare supplement policies. For example, they may have had dental insurance during their working years. Well, guess what? Dental is not covered. And
Yep.
as we get older, one of the things we want is good teeth. and and
Yes.
and good teeth are expensive. So one of the things we try to do is factor in several $1,000s a year for expenses not covered under
Okay.
Medicare and Medicare supplement. The other thing that they also don't look at, and it's a misstep, is what if I need to have some in-home care, or
Right.
God forbid, go into nursing home. Those
Sure.
things are also not covered under Medicare and Medicare supplement policy. So that's an important factor. And then finally, when you're not working anymore, what are you doing with your time? Well,
Oh
hopefully,
yeah.
you're going to enjoy your money and you're going to go on trips and vacations and excursions and help family members out. Budgeting for that is something often overlooked. People
Okay.
tend to look at what my outgo is and what my income is going to be, and they think that's it. Well, what
Right.
about that roof that may need repairing for in that house that you've lived in for 30 years? So
Sure.
those are all things that people need to take into consideration.
Yeah, because estate planning can be very daunting and complicated. Is there some easy steps to take for estate planning?
Yes, absolutely. Number one is have one.
Okay.
You'd be surprised at how many people walk into our office and they have all sorts of assets,
Right.
but they don't have a will or a living trust.
Okay.
So have one. Living trusts in particular are beneficial because you can name a healthcare agent, a power of attorney if you become incapacitated. And then, of
Okay.
course, like a will, it outlines in detail who's going to get what and in
Right.
what percentages if something were to happen to you. So it's organized, it's safe, it avoids unnecessary expenses and probate. It's a wonderful thing, and it's a simple thing to set up.
Right. And I would imagine that's one of the errors that people make, in estate planning. Are there any others that you would like to bring to light?
Oh yes, there are other errors. There's many. I would say I'll mention a couple of them here. Number one is
Okay.
not making sure you have beneficiaries listed on your
Okay.
IRA accounts and 401k accounts. For example, let's say you're on your third marriage. Okay. So that very first marriage,
Right.
30 years ago, you were working for a company that had a 401k. And
Right.
like a lot of Americans, when you leave employers, you just leave that there alone. And so
Okay.
all this time that has gone by, you get the statement, but you file it away and you don't think about it. Well, if you die, that first wife that was the beneficiary, if it hasn't been changed, guess what? She's going to get the money no
Wow.
matter what the current wife feels or does legally. Beneficiary designations are contractually and
Right.
legally the surest and safest way to pass things on to beneficiaries, but it can also be a nightmare as well.
So
I
it's
would
good
say
to
another
update that information all along your life.
You absolutely need to do that, but it's an often overlooked item. It's such a tiny little thing, but when a death occurs, it's
Yes.
irrevocable. And that's just the bottom line. I would say another, go ahead.
Yeah. I just want to ask, is it important to have a fiduciary? And what is that?
Well, a fiduciary is someone that is an advisor in a
Okay.
role like myself. I'm a
Right.
fiduciary. Many other advisors out there are fiduciaries, and basically, what that means is that they are legally required to do what is in the best interests of
Okay.
their clients. And obviously, that's something that we felt we've always done all these years, but now
Right.
it's actually a law.
Oh, it
If
is.
you hold yourself out as a financial advisor, you are a fiduciary.
Okay.
You are legally obligated to do what is in the best interest of clients.
Okay. Um, all good information you've shared with us today. Could you please provide your website for those who would like additional information?
More than happy to. And thank you for asking. It's www.iwaplan.com. You've
Very
heard me
good.
talk about planning a lot today, so we have it in our website address.
Absolutely, very helpful. So thank you so very much, Stephen Wagner, certified financial planner here in Ventura County. We thank you for sharing your good advice and helpful tips on estate planning and financial planning for our futures.
Sandra, it was my pleasure. Thank you for having me on.
Very good. And thank all of you for joining us today on Our Ventura TV. We look forward to seeing you next time. Bye, everyone.